Hey, so today I'm going to explain why certain personality types struggle to trust their aesthetic preferences, how cognitive functions sometimes create doubt, and why your genuine preferences actually align with what looks good on you. I'm Rebecca Milky, and I help women who want to contribute to their communities become visible from the inside out. So I had a conversation with an ENTP friend where she was asking me about purple. And it turned out that it was sort of a trick question. She wanted to know like what color purple I would suggest for her. And then she revealed that there was no purple in her actual palette. Um, and I've heard the same kind of question from from specific personality types. What if what I like doesn't actually look good on me? And this sort of formed a pattern in my mind when I realized that some of those same personality types um, also sometimes seem to doubt whether they're hearing from God or just hearing from themselves. Um, so ENFPs, INFPs, ENTPs, INTPs all ask some version of this question, um, all doubting that their preferences can be trusted. So here's the thing, in all the time that I've been using this method to work with women on their style, I've only seen genuine aesthetic preferences contradict what actually works for someone once. And that was very subtle. And I'll tell you about that exception next week, hopefully, because I'm working on trying to get back into a rhythm of creating content every week. Next episode for sure. But under normal circumstances, what you're drawn to aesthetically, what you look like, and what works for you will all be related. Certain cognitive functions, though, make that truth really difficult to trust. So, what are cognitive functions? Your Myers-Briggs type isn't just four random letters. Those letters are actually a code for how your mind processes information and makes decisions. They're the cognitive functions are the mental processes underneath the four-letter code of type. So there's eight of them total, and each person uses four of them in a specific order. And the order determines how certain you feel about certain things. If you want more information about the cognitive functions, how it relates to your style, how it relates to your Myers-Briggs personality type, I have a masterclass, video masterclass. You can find it in the show description or at the top of my website. It's called The Myers-Briggs Key to Signature Style, and it will explain more. Anyway, your dominant function, the one you use most naturally, operates with the highest sense of certainty. Your second function has a little less certainty, but it's still pretty certain. Your third, even less. And your fourth, your inferior function is where you're very uncertain. So this descending certainty pattern matters because it shows up in how you trust yourself in certain areas. But introverted or extroverted intuition, rather, extroverted intuition, shorthand is NE. It's a cognitive function that perceives information by exploring possibilities in real time, sees patterns, connections, alternatives, asks, what if? What else could this be? So you can see how that could create uncertainty when you're thinking about trusting your own preferences. So if you're an ENFP or ENTP, this is your dominant function. If you're an INFP or an INTP, it's your auxiliary function, the second one. So either way, it's one of your strongest. if you are an NP. It's brilliant at generating options. It keeps you open to new ideas and it helps you see connections that other people miss. But what happens when you try to make a decision about your aesthetic preference? It immediately generates all the alternatives. So you see something that you love, and Annie says, well, what about this other thing? And what if that one's better? And so you feel confident in a choice for a minute, and then what if you're missing something? It's not a flaw in your thinking. It's just really extroverted intuition doing its genius, exactly what it's designed to do. And it's keeping you open to possibilities. And that makes it nearly impossible to feel certain about your own preferences. So every cognitive function in your stack operates with a different level of certainty, and your dominant function feels the most certain. But for any users, your strength is sort of uncertainty itself, not in a negative sense, not in an uncomfortable sense, but just uncertainty as remaining open, exploring alternatives, seeing multiple valid options. I hate to say this, but I've also seen this play out, or at least heard people using this function talk about how it allows them to see past someone's faults and maybe stay in a romantic relationship longer than what's actually appropriate. Send me an email if that's you. hello@signaturestylesystems.com. So you feel like you can't easily be your own expert on what looks good on you because your cognitive wiring keeps you questioning. You see so many possibilities that it's difficult to settle on one answer. And that's why any users just often need external validation to check in with other people. It's not because you're incompetent or you lack good judgment or anything like that, but because this cognitive function literally doesn't produce internal certainty about preferences the way other functions do. For example, the intro, intuition turned the other direction or introverted, it arrives at singular insights with conviction. It's slow though, and extroverted intuition's really fast. Introverted feeling knows its own values and preferences with clarity, but extroverted intuition stays perpetually open. So when you ask, what if what I like isn't what looks good on me? You're not being paranoid. You're experiencing the natural output of your cognitive function. But here's what I've observed working with many women. Your genuine aesthetic preferences don't contradict what actually works for you. When you're drawn to certain colors, they typically harmonize with your natural coloring. When you love certain styles, usually they complement your features. And when you collect images of looks you love, things you find beautiful, like the images that I would suggest you collect would be not clothes, but actually things from the world of art, nature, lifestyle. Um, those almost always reflect what's going to look beautiful on you. Um, the doubt isn't evidence that your preferences are wrong. It's evidence that any is doing its job, keeping you open to alternatives. And here is not an example of an exception where somebody's pictures didn't look like them or weren't what would look best on them, but an example that you do need to be careful of. This is part of why I think it's better to go to the pictures from the world of art or nature or other like just visually beautiful images, because if you It's just really easy to um, get connected to what is popular in the zeitgeist, whatever people are wearing, or uh, whatever home decor colors are the new ones. It's really easy to think, oh, that's what I prefer. Um, so the art angle, the nature angle, that helps helps us to get beyond like contemporary aesthetics into what's personal to you. So here's where extroverted intuition can actually help you instead of creating doubt. It's excellent at seeing patterns once there's data to work with. So I had an ENP friend. Well, she's ENFP. She's still a friend. But she brought images to an online workshop that I was running, and she brought a ton of images, lots more than I'd asked for. And when we looked at them together, the visual themes were obvious. Certain colors, certain shapes kept appearing. The mood of most of them was very similar. What I find when I work with a person's collection of images is that usually most of them will be very related to each other. And that informs your everyday look. And then there'll usually be one or two that's a little different uh, in one way, and that would be maybe a little bit more playful. And then one or two that are different in another way, which would be maybe more formal. Um, so anyway, back to my ENFP friend. That was extroverted intuition working for her. It explores broadly, then it spots the connections. So if that's your personality type, any of these NP types, and you're struggling to identify your aesthetic preferences, don't fight it. Just start collecting. Save 20, 30, 50 images if that's what feels good to you. Then look for the elements that repeat. What visual patterns keep showing up? Then you'll see the themes, and those themes are your preferences revealing themselves. Once you've identified patterns in what you're drawn to, you might still wonder if those preferences actually work for you. That's where external validation becomes valuable. I'm always here to help you. And then one thing that I have that can be super fun that you can bring friends or family members together to help you with is the aesthetic mirror and palette party. That provides exactly what you need to validate that what is in your pictures is actually what looks like you and what's going to look good on you. You get to test whether your aesthetic preferences actually reflect who you are and get feedback, not just from me, but from people who know you and love you. So it's not rules, not guidelines, just confirmation that what you're drawn to harmonizes with who you are. So here's something simple you can do this week to integrate these principles. Start collecting images that you love, that you find beautiful visually. And don't limit yourself to any certain number when you ultimately work with me to discover your signature style foundations. I'll ask you to send in 10. But for now, don't limit yourself. Save 30 if that's what you find, and let your NE explore without judgment. Then look for the visual themes that repeat. What colors keep showing up? What shapes? What silhouettes? What mood or energy? Your preferences are already creating a pattern. You just need enough examples to see it. Screenshot them, pin them, save them to a folder. Just start gathering. Thanks for being here for the Signature Style Systems podcast. Have fun being you, and I will meet you back here again sometime very soon.